country music fans out there. This is Leigh with Coda Country, and today we have a special guest duo on the show. Their recent release of We're Gonna Hold On, the George and Tammy Wynette classic song, came to New Music Friday on August the 14th. So you might have heard them on the New Music Friday with Coda Country playlist. Let's give a nice warm welcome to Alyssa and Wayne Brewer. How are you all today?
Wonderful.
Great.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. And, hearing that song, which is the second little single drop from your upcoming project that we're going to talk about a little bit, it's just filled with so much nostalgia and so much, I don't know, love for George and Tammy. I would love to hear more about the recording process, the inspiration to record all of these songs and cover all of these tracks from you all. Go ahead and just kind of divulge your journey through that.
Well, we last October was 7 years that we've been married, and so on the was it the 16th, right?
Yeah.
16th of October. We were married on the 3rd of October, 7 years prior, but on the 16th we had our first baby. So little Elena Finley. So you're sitting there, and about the first week of November, I believe. Excuse me. So anyway, we were sitting there. And we had been talking about doing a duet album for a little over 7 years, because when we first started dating is when we first started talking about that. And so honestly, Leigh, we were looking for, the old saying or whatever, you think in your mind, well, we'll wait for the right time when we have time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nobody ever has time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what do you do?
I do.
You have to make time, right?
He waited until, we had the least amount of time also. But yeah, we made it work.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny how that works though? Yeah.
Well, that's what I told her. I said, I'm waiting. That's what I told her for years. I said, I'm waiting. Because a couple of times she said, well, what are we waiting on? I said, well, we're waiting on a good opportunity. Instead of just, you can make a record anytime, but that don't guarantee that it's going to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So I was waiting for a good
absolutely, yeah,
with marketing and for people to back it and all that, other than just, our regular fan base, because I wanted it to go and sort of transcend just that. So we got an offer from some friends of ours there at Sony and the Orchard that they would support this. And they said, I told them about what I thought of how I was going to do it and all that. And they were like, yeah, man, great. When can you have it to me? And I was like, well, when do you want it? And they're like, as soon as possible. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So then I called her and I said, I think I've just agreed to doing a full George and Tammy tribute album as our first album, our debut album. That we're trying to basically try to do a remake of something of the best two duet singers of country music. In other words, I didn't think about it like in those terms, but that's basically what I agreed to do. And so she was like, she's like, are you crazy? And I said, well, you already know, you already knew that when we got married. No. So, he's like, 100 questions, well, when are we starting? All these questions. And I was like, well, I don't know yet. I'll let you know as I know. You know what I'm saying? I'll keep you in the loop, in other words. So I got cracking, so to speak, on this whole deal. And like I said, she's at home with the baby here, a week or two old. And luckily here on the farm, we live right outside of Louisville, Kentucky. So my dad and our got a big farm right here, right outside of the kind of Louisville city limits here, and we're about 500 acres total now. And so we had bought various properties that butted the property, and then in 2020, when everything was at a standstill, we finally done what all of our dream was and built a studio here in one of the buildings on the property. So that was convenient because, I could run down the street for 4 hours and work on it and then come home and have daddy time, and then go back after the baby fell asleep. And then I would stay up there till 3, 4 a.m. in the morning just because I'm kind of
Oh my gosh.
from playing on the road. And so that's kind of when I am my normal. And then I wake up about this time right now, about noon, and go to bed about 4 or 5 a.m. That's my normal, the opposite of everybody else. So anyway, we done we got the album totally done within about a week. So and this
Oh wow.
yeah, in other words, I've always been under the thing of, and I've produced a lot of records and done a lot of different methods. And that don't mean, and I've told people this for years, that don't mean that I'm right and everybody else is wrong, or everybody else is right and I'm wrong. There's different ways to do anything. And that don't mean that one's right and one's wrong. You know what I'm saying? There's just different ways depending on mainly what you're trying to accomplish with the recording. So I knew how I wanted to bring this across. I wanted it to be somewhat of a throwback, right? But I didn't want it to be like, oh, hey, they're trying to make it sound so niche like back then, that it wouldn't perform in today's market. And then we didn't want to sound or even try, because nobody can sing. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Nobody can do George and Tammy better than George and Tammy. That's just the way it is. And
that's right. Yes.
But we didn't try to say, okay, I'm going to try my best to, sit and study George and sound exactly like him. And she ain't trying to. We're just singing the best we can. You know what I'm saying? And so this was her first time, first full album in the studio, Alyssa's. And so she was
oh my gosh,
a little nervous, and she's like, now, how are we going to do this? And I said, well,
see, I didn't want like a bunch of people watching me record all these Tammy Wynette parts on these songs. So he laid down all the tracks for me, and I watched him through the window. What is it called? The engineer booth?
Just the engineer booth in the glass.
Basically singing to him.
Cool.
So I think, that was a
Yeah, I told her. She said, "No, I don't."
That's so sweet.
All the people, and I said, "Well, who cares who's watching?" She said, "Well, I'm trying to focus on, because this is just a lot all at once." And I said, "Yeah, I got you." So I said,
well, I mean, it's your first album in the studio, but you're also doing Tammy Wynette songs, so you gotta.
So I set everything.
Gotta bring it.
We had the engineer and all that, set everything up, and then I run everybody off. I said, "Everybody get out." And then I sat right there and, pressed the record button and talked on the mic, said, okay, you're looking at me. I dimmed the lights down and everything. I said, you're looking directly at me and I'm looking directly at you. You're singing all these like you're singing them straight to me. And so in other words, that's the way and I think that's why the album, especially her parts, were so good because, in other words, you feel that almost, intimacy, you feel in other words, it's not it don't feel like that. I don't know, you just have to experience it when you listen to it. I don't know, in other words, you can come up with your own ideals with it, but that's the way it was recorded, and how that makes you feel is what I was trying to capture with that. And so in other words, what I mean by that is we didn't do, okay, Alyssa, sang it, and then she sung it. And I didn't say, hey, sing it like most producers do. Here, that sounds great, but give me 15 more. I just said, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
And then I went to the next line.
Wow.
And then sang that. Okay, that's it. Go to the next line. And that's the way we did. We didn't sit and do, okay, we're going to have 500 takes. We're going to have 20 takes.
Yes.
We only done, in other words, and that's why we were able to get it done in a timely fashion, is because my thought is, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So, because here's the thing, the raw and the emotion, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, that you catch doing it like I'm saying, you can't recreate that when you're sort of burnt out from doing it 500 times. Because, you know what I mean? Because I don't care what kind of human you are and how good of a mood that you have and how good of a positivity that you think you have when you've sung something 100 times. You know what your thought is? I want to get home and get out of this friggin' studio. You know what I'm saying? So And that's just the truth.
Mhm.
People, musicians watching this,
Yes.
they all know what I'm talking about. So the idea was,
Mhm.
if you're catching it and if it's on key and and she's happy with it, then
Mhm.
don't sit and worry it to death. Just trust your first instinct and go with that one, and bam, 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 bam. Now that's the way it is, because it's kind of like the lightning in the bottle thing. You know what I mean? You can capture
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and it may be a
Mhm.
little rough, but it's got that energy, and I would prefer the energy
Mhm.
and the feeling over the super polish.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
there's
Oh, absolutely.
people that can outdo us 10 times over on the polishing stuff, that knows how to do that. You know what I'm talking, like, even gospel singers
Mhm.
and all that, where it's just so super polished, and that's their thing, and you can't take that from them. You see, that's their thing, but it's not really our thing. We wanted this to still have that raw thing, because I've listened to a ton of George,
Authenticity,
right.
organic.
we,
Yes.
we've listened to George and
Absolutely.
Tammy live a lot, more so after we
Mhm.
recorded this, because it's just like, oh man, let's check all this out. And
Yeah.
in other words, I feel like I never met either one of them, but I feel like that they done that same thought process, which is even live. Hey, I'd take the
Mhm.
feeling that you could see between the two of them, versus whether they were married or whether they wasn't, at whichever time you're watching it, you could still not
Mhm.
never deny there was a spark between them. You know what I'm saying? That you can't,
Oh, yeah.
you know. So but
Mhm.
anyway, so yeah, that's how that was all recorded. I used Charlie Crockett's steel guitarist. I used Blake Shelton's fiddle
Cool.
player. I actually put the bass on it myself, because
Awesome.
I actually technically am a bass player with my dad's group. That's what I've always done. But I play every instrument,
Awesome.
and then so does my
Oh,
brother
wow.
Nathan. He played the drums. I had my
Mhm.
dad lay down the acoustic guitar on this album
Mhm.
and the electric. And then I had Josh Balls on piano, which is from a heavy metal group called Motionless in White. They're kind of like Slipknot, type, uh, you know,
Wow.
heavy metal. And I
That's
done,
awesome.
I
Okay.
done, it's totally random. I done that as just kindly because I could. And I had met him in
Mhm.
September when we played at Bourbon and Beyond in Louisville, and we headlined that. It was us on one stage, Jack White on the other stage, and Alanis Morissette on the third stage. And so we got to meet a
Oh
lot of
my gosh.
people that wasn't really in our realm of genre music, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And I like that. And so
Yeah.
we actually just done an interview with him last week on this heavy metal thing, and people were like digging it, And so that was my goal, because I said, hey, could you imagine if people that like heavy metal would hear this? I bet you they'd love it. And a lot of people was like, oh no, they don't like
Mhm.
country music. They loved it. They were like, oh, that's how country music's supposed to be. And all these comments, you can go on there on
Yes.
see what they were saying. And I was like, that's exactly what I want. And then are people that like country and roots music, that turned them on to the heavy metal, because I like all that stuff too. If I'm going out in the garage to work on my
Mhm.
car or something, it's not George Jones that I'm listening to. It's the heavy metal stuff. Locking your knuckles off.
Yes, I get that.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, and I do
Mhm.
that if I'm working, or I even listen to it out by the pool sometimes. I mean, I really do. So I listen to everything from Charlie
Yeah.
Crockett to, uh, our bluegrass stuff to, uh, George Jones to heavy metal and everything in between. She's more like, what was you told somebody everything from
Like,
Carrie
yeah.
Underwood to uh, Taylor Swift to, pop music. When she met me, okay, I want to say this is important.
Mhm.
So guys that's listening, if you're looking to get married to a woman or date a woman, and she's a big rap and pop fan, that you can switch them over. And I didn't even do it; it just happened organically. Because her dad was actually always
Mhm.
a big George Jones fan, and she never did pay no attention to it because her mom didn't like it. Okay,
Mhm.
now even her
Mhm.
mom's
Mhm.
a Jones fan since we done this album. because they're a fan of her.
Oh, wow.
Got me, so it's turned them on to. But the point
Mhm.
is, so you was into pop and
Just a
rap,
little bit of hip hop,
all that
but,
stuff.
I
all
never
that
listened
stuff.
to country or bluegrass,
Mhm.
especially bluegrass. But
Never.
but you marry the bluegrass family, you gotta kind of find a love for it.
Oh, yeah.
I even
That's cool to know though, because it's nice to hear where those influences come from, you know? Because especially when you're doing a cover album like this, it's neat to hear all of those influences, like from the different musicians who play with different people, and that's really interesting to hear. I can't wait to hear the full album. And I was just saying that this episode of the podcast is going to drop on September 13th, which is right before the album comes out. So I'm hoping that it brings a lot of the listeners from our stuff to, you know, get you some pre-saves, get you some album streams, get you some more YouTube video
yeah.
clicks, because I know that you just shared some news with me about that too with
We're
your
we're we're
most recent YouTube
we're celebrating.
sharing.
We're celebrating. Look here, we're celebrating Liquid Death's our sponsor, Leigh. Look, so we're celebrating.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're sober and everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're celebrating
Well,
with our
that's good. Cheers with the water.
right. That's what I say. The whole health thing and all that. It's good, and people, more people's doing that. But we've always been like that. But you know what? I'm crazy enough without any of that stuff. I can have a good time without it.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's right. That's
Uh,
right. That's
in all,
amazing.
in all
Oh my
seriousness,
gosh.
we're celebrating. We just found out about an hour. I told you this right before we got about an hour before we got on here. Dave Santiago, our tour manager, he reached out to me and he said, "Hey, you know that album or that
Music video.
the second single music video? A couple days ago here, he said it went over 1 million views, right?" And I said, "No, I've been down here in
Wow.
I've been down here in a field. You know how everybody likes this whole, you know who Coulter Wall is and all that. You know how they're like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
he's a cowboy out in the. That's the way we are. Even though I slick up pretty good, so does she in the dresses and the suits and everything. I've been out here in the middle of a forest for 3 days working on a pavilion shelter for this event coming up that we're doing on this property of ours next
Oh wow.
next Sunday. Not this week,
Okay.
but next week.
Cool.
So in
Very
other
cool.
words, I've been down here
Next weekend.
in the woods in a big field hammering and nail gunning and all that. All right. And all the while I had no idea here our thing here has got over a million views and went viral while I'm here down here 16 foot in the air on a pavilion nailing down metal. All right. And then I've got to jump in a bus tomorrow and we got to go to Ohio. We're playing a big festival closing out day one up there on Thursday of Sam Jam. It's a big festival up in Piketon, Ohio. So we'll be on the road
Wow.
this weekend and then have a few days the next week. Then we got to go to Illinois and then come back and do this Finley Fest thing. And Finley was my grandpa. It was my dad's dad. And his dad played with the original Carter family in the 20s. So I'm a sixth generation
Wow.
musician. And this was Finn's hat right here. That's why I'm wearing it kindly because he passed away coming up on this day that we're doing this event. So it's a memorial. And I figured
Oh wow.
since
Oh wow.
it's on the 10th, me and Alyssa was like, man, what better of a event to do as our CD release thing. So it's kind of an early release celebration.
Yes.
And honoring my grandpa. And
That's amazing.
we named our little girl. Her middle name is Finley, which was after Finn. That was Alyssa's idea. I wish I could take credit for it, but she came up. So Alyssa and Wayne. So she put those together and made Elena. All right. And then
Beautiful. Yes.
And then the middle name is Finley. So Elena Finley Brewer. And we'll go in there and get her here.
I love that.
Bring her in here real quick. And we'll show everybody.
Yeah. She seems like she's awake.
Yeah.
For all the listeners out there, she was about to be in a nap time, but I think she woke up, and I'm glad she's going to join us. That beautiful 10-month-old girl.
When she hears Daddy's big mouth, she's curious about what's going on, But this second video is
she's excited. I bet she's going to be a singer too.
Oh yeah, she's singing and she's playing. In this video, Leigh, this is important. I want to mention this. You know the little guitar where she was playing it. A friend of ours made that. 30 years ago, and I played that when I played the Grand Ole Opry for the first time at 18 months old. And so, believe
Oh
it,
my
believe it
gosh.
or not, that thing has survived me and my brother and is still in one piece, which is
Wow.
that's really something in itself because it's 30 years. So so now she's playing on it. See, yeah.
Oh,
Say
that's so sweet. Hello, sweet girl. Oh my goodness. It's a beautiful day when there's a baby on the podcast. Hello, darling.
hello.
Hi. Oh my gosh. More baby fever. Look at that sweet baby girl. Well, and it's incredible to see such a happy couple, happy family, making great music, loving the country lifestyle, like you said, in Kentucky. So yes, I applaud you guys for all the awesome work that you've been doing. I mean, because you've made a fan out of me. So
Yeah, we're having a good time.
for sure.
That's the most important thing. I've always said if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then what's the point of doing it? Money, you can make money doing anything. People don't realize that you
That's
can,
right.
you know what I'm saying? In other words, what I mean, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can make money doing anything. Yeah. You can make money doing anything, but are you happy? Say, I'm happy. Yeah, go ahead and get her back here.
Oh, bless it.
Say, I want to hold my daddy.
That's precious.
You can make money doing anything.
Oh, bless.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got
Oh,
to be
yeah.
happy. If you're not happy what you're doing, it don't matter how much money. I've been paid a lot of money and I've been paid not so much money and everything in between through the years. I've been doing this 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yeah.
nearly 30 years. But my point is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so all that's well and good, Leigh, you know what I'm saying? But money don't
Yeah.
transfer to your happiness, which everybody knows that. You got to have money to get by.
Yeah.
But thankfully, we own
Mm-hmm.
our house, we own all of our vehicles. I'm not making payments on nothing, thank the Lord, which is great
That's
for
great. Yeah.
our young age.
Mm-hmm.
But in other words, I haven't been one of those guys that's been like, okay, I've got to have the biggest house on the block, and I've got to have it. I spend my money on other stupid things like buses and boats and things like that. No, but
Well, those are needed too. I
well,
mean, yeah, of
it's
course.
all about personal preference, and if it's what makes you happy. And we
Mm-hmm.
like to play music, we like to have a good time. And this day that we shot this video, that's what I was getting to. It was like at the time, it was the hottest day of the year so far, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" Because we wanted
Ooh.
the baby to be in there. So we had a crew here and all this stuff set up, and I was like, "Man, it is so hot outside." And so they were like, well, let's just change it and do it more laid back and do it in your house. So we did it right in the living room and in the bedroom.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's their living room.
So the bed.
I love
Yeah.
that. Oh, wow.
So we had like literally 20 people in here, all squished in here with cameras and all them tripods and the lighting, and had lighting taped to the ceiling. It was a sight. I thought, boy, this poor house, is going to be destroyed. But they didn't tear nothing up, thank goodness. We just had to pretty much move everything around. But I was a little stressed out about it. But anyway, it all come out good, and
It looks great. Yeah.
they done a wonderful job. The guy that directed this is a personal friend of ours, and we've met him from a couple of past projects. Him and his wife, Shane Suter and Kathy Suter. They're wonderful. They've done a ton of different movies and big blockbuster movies that you could look up and would probably recognize. And so I talked them into directing and coordinating these for us, because we also done those just like that. Like, okay, when you need them, we need them right now. Okay, we'll get them. So, and those were in between other dates we were playing and everything else. So we got it done, and then he said, we want to get your director of photography, so your DP is this guy named Justin. And I said, okay. And I didn't, I trusted them. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't even look up this guy. I just said, yeah. You're hired, man. Come on, like in 3 days from right now, come on down, And so he gets down here. We shoot the 2 music videos, and then I'm talking to the guy out in the the driveway out here, and just kind of shooting the bull and everything. And he's like, man, I'd love to work with y'all anytime again. I just had a blast and blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, man, we really enjoy working with you guys too. And I always have a big, I'm always in a big joking mood and having a good time no matter what I'm doing. If I'm at a funeral, whatever, I'm having a good time. That's just me. So, he was talking about, he said, yeah, man, just telling it. And then he goes, I produced all the videos and was director of photography for all the videos for Trampled by Turtles. And I said, oh.
Wow.
And when he said that, I thought, I wonder if he really is, or wonder if he was just on the crew. You know what I mean? I didn't know the guy, but I mean, I knew he knew what he was doing because I was seeing it. But so as soon as we left, I went and looked him up, and I was like, holy cow, man, this guy's the one that's done all the videos for them and a bunch of other people. So if they would have told me that in the beginning, I'd have been 3 times more excited, but I didn't even know that. But I told Alyssa, people will think that we hired him just because he done those. But we didn't. The truth is, we didn't even know. We just took their word because they said, I trust them 100%. And because their work, it speaks for itself. And so he said, here's who you need to get. And I said, hire him. I didn't ask him who he was, how much, nothing. I just said, get him down here. We got to get these done. And I said, I have to have them done before next week. And then, we're going to send them off and and we're going to edit them and blah, 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 and then send them to the PR team.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. But that second video, it was probably in the upper 90s. And when we done the scene, where you're going down the railroad track, it took about 45 minutes because they had all the equipment in the house. Of course, we're chilled down.
Oh, my gosh.
With AC. So when we went out to do that one scene, it took about 45 minutes because those cameras have multiple lenses in the lens. And they were internally fogged up. That's how hot it was. And they had to wait until it equalized before we could shoot that.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man.
I went back, needless to say, me and her, we went back in the house, and I said, call me when they're not fogged, and we'll come back out, because I didn't want to just stand there in the sun. I mean, it was hot.
Sweat, yes.
Exactly.
I bet.
You know what? All in all, even considering how hot it was, we had a really good time of that. And there's a deleted scene that we still haven't put out yet, and I guess we need to put that out.
I don't know.
Of a night, we went out there of a night. There's a little scene of a night by the pool, and we're holding the baby. And after that, I said, because it was so hot even of a night still, and I said, hey, you should, I said, let them film before they take the cameras away, and you should, I originally said she should push me in the pool, and then she said, well, that don't make no sense because, it's a cutesy lovey-dovey video, so why would I push you in the pool? And I said, well, I tell you what, I said, I'll do like this, like to give me a kiss. And I said, when you give me a kiss, I said, really, pow, like that. And then like where it knocks me in the pool. So I done that, but of course we didn't use it because she was like,
You still didn't make any
I don't want to do that. I just wanted to get in the pool. So I got knocked in the pool with all my Western clothes on just for the heck of it. It was comfortable.
That's amazing.
Cool me off.
Oh my gosh. I was about to say, it's probably so hot, you probably just dying to get in the pool. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
They thought we were going to be shooting the whole music video in the pool. Did you ever know? I come out on the porch, and they're waiting for us on the pool scene, all right? And the director and them's out there, and he smokes a pipe. And so he was sitting out there smoking his pipe on our front porch because, like I said, we're out in the middle of the country, and they were all just, him and the whole crew were just out there on the rocking chairs, and we're like, man, this is just heaven on earth out here. And I said, well, we love it. And so I walk out in all my Western outfit and my cowboy boots, and her as well. And they said, I thought we were, because I said, we're going to shoot a scene by the pool, not in the pool.
Got it.
They thought I was saying, come out in our bikinis, and be in the pool. Hindsight, as hot as it was, it would have probably been better. If we'd have been in bikinis, we might have got even more views,
Mm-hmm.
2 million views. I still say it's going to keep going up, but I mean, bikinis, who knows? Well, I tell you what, y'all, listen, this has been a very fun interview, and it's so funny to me because you got through all the questions that I had in my head that I wanted to ask you. You just kind of like went through and answered them for me. So I'm so glad to hear all about this, and it makes me even more excited to hear the final project that's going to be released on September 15th. So yeah, I guess, is there anything else that you'd like to say before we wrap up today's episode? Any more like shout outs? Or I know that you guys have talked about your camp and the people who support you a lot and who've helped you kind of get everything for this together. Is there anything else that you want to support or shout out or promote or anything like that?
We'd like to tell everybody to go follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can just type in either A&W Brewer or Alyssa and Wayne Brewer. Either one of them will get you there. And then you can Google Alyssa and Wayne Brewer, and it'll pull up our website and YouTube and all the other stuff. So just follow us. And if we're in your area coming up, which we will be soon, we just I can't even announce this yet, but we've got some cool stuff that we've just signed and we'll be announcing soon regarding bookings and tours. So in other words, coming up through the winter and through next season, we're going to be all around everybody's area. So we want everybody to come out.
That's amazing.
We want everybody to come out and see us. Yeah. We have a good time. And, if you think we're energetic and funny here on the interview, you wait till you see us in person. We're really something.
I know that. I mean, I'm going to come and find you because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, we'll be in Nashville, Leigh, during Americana. Yeah. So we'd love to meet you in person.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Yes. Okay, we're going to talk about that after we get off. Okay. Well, thank you, Alyssa and Wayne, so much for talking with me today. Like I said, I'm super excited to hear the album that comes out September 15th. The tribute to George and Tammy, and you heard about it here with Leigh and Coda Country. Y'all have a nice day.
All right. Thank you, honey.